What's up, guys, and welcome back to Hub City Hot Rods TV. We are at Hub City Hot Rods headquarters. This is where we originally started working on cars before we had the shop and started doing other locations of work. But yeah, today we got a 2006 Corvette C6 LS2 car, and it's in today for some upgrades. This is a very, very clean car. I'm super impressed that the owner has kept up with it and takes care of the car a lot. All original car, very clean, red with the black C7 style Corvette wheels. So today we are going to do some speed engineering exhaust system. We're going to do speed engineering 1 7/8 long tube headers. We are going to do their X pipe, and we are going to do their muffler system that goes from over the diff axles to the muffler to the tips. So that'll be one. Another thing we're going to do is we are going to upgrade the air intake system. We are going to put the Veraram Snake Charmer on it. It's the best intake, in my opinion, for performance. The only bad thing is, it does go all the way down to the bottom of the bumper, down by the grill up here in front. So what that means is if you ever run through any puddles in the rain or anywhere that it'll swallow water, it will lock up. But luckily, this car doesn't go out in the rain, and the customer does not entertain driving it around unless it's sunny outside, like today. So I'm going to start with unplugging the wires that are here, the spark plug wires. I'm going to pull the plugs, take off the covers, remove the coil packs just to make it a little bit easier to slide the headers in from the bottom, and I'm not sitting there cutting my hands up. And then disconnect the battery, lift the car up, and start disassembling it from the back. Okay, so fairly easy to take off these covers. On this side, you have to remove the oil cap. And we're going to be setting everything on the table here. Nothing on the car. Nothing on the windshield. This car is very clean, well taken care of. And all you got to do is pop up on both sides. And slide this side out. It's got little hooks here and your little grommets where they grab the rail and they grab the coil pack, or the valve cover. Actually, it's got some stubs that are built into it. So got an O2 sensor here. That's gonna have to get extended. Whenever you do headers, they have to get extended because they do not reach. So we'll just do this. Pop it off. Come on. It's another thing. These cars have never been worked on. Everything's gonna be a little stuck. Take this coil pack off. Unplug it. Okay. We'll pull the wires from the coils themselves. A lot of these tear when they're factory. They tear right off, so be mindful. Don't get upset if they break off. Got some here in the back. Got one. Tip. And I guess I'll show you when I open the box. Tip: when you're putting headers, you do need different spark plug wires, because the boots on the new headers will rub onto the header and melt the boot completely. Just wiggle it around, pop it off. Those are off. This has got a little clip that it slides onto. And then we are going to have to remove the dipstick. It does require a 15mm socket on this side. And then your spark plugs are 9/16. No, 5/8. Sorry, my bad. 5/8 spark plug socket. 4 of them on this side. Once they're all out, I'm not gonna crack these loose, the manifold bolts, until I have the rest of the exhaust system and the catalytic converters off, so that way there's no weight on the bolts. Let me take off the coils as well. Go back the other way. Oh, my bad. Use this 10. I can't reach. Now to take off the coils, you don't need to unplug the actual connector that goes to the coil. It's just the main coil harness and the spark plug wires that hold it together. Alright, so we got the bolts off. Let's see here. We'll lay out any hardware. Anything we're taking off, we're lay out right here. Got coils. We'll put everything on the right side, because that was on that side. Get your wires. These, we'll just throw them back in the box for the customer. He's not going to use these because the stock ones, the stock style with a 90-degree boot won't fit. Okay. And we got, oh, I'm gonna disconnect this real quick. I need to use 2 hands. Give me a second. Okay, I got one side off. And I need a 15 to take off the dipstick. So we got a 15 here. Get our ratchet. Already got dirty. That's how it is. You can clean and clean and clean, and you'll still get a little bit of residue. Mostly it's this little seal that's on the oil cap. It kind of just sweats. So the 15mm bolt that's holding the dipstick here. Well, I gotta find that one real quick. My bad. That's what I get for recording and doing work at the same time. You just wiggle this around, it comes right out. And now I can work on the spark plugs. This side is a little bit different because you have a fuel line going through the rail, but the cover has a little opening here where the fuel line will slide through. But since I'm using one hand, I'm having a little hard time. Give me a second. Right there, a little opening for that. Same process. Coil pack, O2 sensor. You don't have to take off the fuel line. You got wires on each end. Now, once you get to the point where you're putting the headers on, there's a coolant temp sensor right here. Be really careful not to break that sensor. You'll just have to replace it if you do, but yeah, it sucks. You need a coolant temp sensor. The computer needs it. Runs like crap without it. So I'll take this side off. Let me raise the car up. Let's start in the back. I forgot to mention, when on this coil pack on the driver's side, the alternator is really close. There's a little harness clamp that holds onto the valve cover or the coil pack bolt. Just take it off, move it a little bit over. You can get your socket in there. Use a short 10. You can't use a long 10. You get your short socket, and on this one, if you clamp it all the way, the stud bottoms out on the extension. But all you got to do is give it a little pop like this. I don't know if y'all's extensions do this, but I go forward a little bit, gives me enough clearance, and you can go directly in between these bolts and loosen this up. No issues at all. Just wanted to let that be known. All right then. So both sides are off. Both spark plug sides are out. That'll leave us the manifolds till the end, once all the rest of the exhaust is out. So let's do that. Found the dipstick bolt. It was just hanging there, so got that. So now we're under the car. So if you're ever doing exhaust on these cars, it is always easiest to, especially headers, right? It's always easiest to start from the back to the front, because trying to get everything to separate is a little hard. I think if you're just doing headers, you still have to take off the X-pipe because the headers do not bolt up directly to the X-pipe. So it's usually headers, X-pipe, and then from there, it does bolt up to the factory exhaust depending on the kits that you buy. But luckily for this, we got the whole exhaust. So we're gonna start with the back, take off the tips. This car has been straight piped. And we already got the hangers that go there, the original hangers, because the kit, here it is. The kit has the parts that go into the factory hangers. That way it's a direct bolt-on system versus whatever they did here at a muffler shop. Don't do this, guys. Try to always do it right. You know, spend a little extra. So this car has resonators on it. Looks like they put those in too. Good welding job. But I'm gonna start from the back, take them off this, and then I'm gonna loosen up these two 50mm bolts. I don't need to take these off. Take them off the flange here. And then I gotta disconnect O2 sensors. The O2 sensor here, right by the catalytic converter. The top ones are taken off, and they're clipped onto the side of the block there on both sides. A little hard to see, but they are. And then after that, there's two bolts, 15mm bolts holding the flange from the manifold to the catalytic converter, and I gotta take those off. So for those of you watching who need to know, there's 4 bolts on top. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts factory that hold the factory muffler. If you have an MPP exhaust, there's 2 vacuum lines that come off the side of the mufflers. Just unplug those, just pull them off. And then right here, there's a 15mm bolt on both sides. Loosen that up, separate it. And you might, whenever you have a factory muffler system, you might have to drop the sway bar to take the muffler off, because the muffler kind of sits here. So when you try to lower it, it hits the sway bar, and you want to try to make as much clearance. So you take off the sway bar, and you don't have to take it off the end links. Just loosen it here, let it drop. That'll give you your clearance to bring the muffler down and slide it out of this little spots here. After that's off, you got 2 15mm or 13mm bolts here on some springs. Just take those off. That'll separate the back part of it. And then you got your flange bolts, also 15s, that hold the X pipe, where the factory X pipe, this one has an H pipe. It might be a factory H pipe to X pipe, whichever one. I think Z06s are different, Grand Sports are different, and then LS3s and LS2s are different. So that's that. and then your catalytic converters, and then you can go back up on top and loosen up all the 13mm bolts for the manifold. So let me knock this out, and then that way we can start working on putting all the good stuff on. All right, so the exhaust is off. Catalytic converter, H-pipe with resonators. I think that's aftermarket, but still went on the same way as stock. And the rest of the exhaust and manifolds, I just lowered them down to the ground right now. Loosened it, slowly let it go down on the ground, didn't drop them. So that's off. Now to unbox all the other stuff. All right, so I have laid out the exhaust, all the pieces that I'm going to use. We got the headers. We got O2 extensions. You need those if you guys are ever doing these. The factory harness for the O2 sensor is up by the valve cover, and the O2 sensor is down at the bottom, so you are going to need the extensions. On this one, we got the fire sleeves, we got ARP bolts, we got new spark plug wires, and we got the gasket. So you got your pipes that go to your header, then you got your X pipe, and then on these, which is the part that goes right before the differential over the axle, they do give you all the options for LS2, LS3, and Z06. So the LS2, LS3, they all go in the same. The angles are different, and the you can see this one. This one's perfectly aligned, but look how the tip angles this way, and that angles straighter. And then the one on the driver's side is always the same for LS2, LS3. It's the passenger side LS2, LS3 that changes right here. So it comes out here, and then right here is where it changes from LS2, LS3. Driver's side always stays the same. And then Z06, they're just 3-inch versus these, it's 3 to stock. What is that size on the stock pipe? Like 2 3/4 or 2.5. So I'm going to be putting the Z06 style 3-inch because the kit that comes to the back is 3-inch, and I cannot put those in here because they won't fit. So we'll be using the 3-inch Z06 style. And then from there, you got your crossovers that go over your end. And then you got your mufflers with your tips. Now here, I'm just going to find out which side is which. I'm assuming this side is passenger because the way it angles to the middle. And if you look at this, it's got to go to the left. So it has to go like this into the pipe. And this one, same thing. If I put this one over here, it'll be facing the wrong way. It'll be facing that way, and I need it to come this way into the center of the car. So all that's laid out. Another thing you guys need to know is O2 sensors. If you're going to use your stock O2 sensors and they're fine, you do have to take them off the manifolds, and you do have to install them here on the headers. We got new sensors, so I'm just going to screw those on. But if you're not buying new sensors and your sensors are fine, you don't want to replace them, you do need to take them off your manifold. Sometimes they break, sometimes they don't. Good luck. We just bought new ones, so where is it? We just bought new replacement sensors. Make it a lot easier. Start over. So yeah, let me throw the headers up and start assembling all this exhaust. Headers. On the headers, they are going to go in from the bottom. You cannot get them through the top. So I'm trying to make this an install video for those people who are searching Speed Engineering install headers for C6. You don't have to take off the starter. I believe on a Z06 there is a coolant line here. I mean, an oil line for the sump for the oil canister. There's two lines that come out here. You do have to take those off, and you do have to get them out of the way to get the header through. So on this car, you don't have to. You just work your way up. Passenger side, everything really goes on fairly easy. I've never had issues putting them in. And then from there, you'll have your header come out in this position. So let me put the headers on. Let me just slide them in and hold them up with some bolts and new gaskets. That way you can see where they sit. But they do go up here in this position. You gotta angle them. If you don't have a lift and you don't have a jack, I guess a drive-on lift like this, and you're using a jack, you do have to get the car pretty high to get the headers in, because the headers practically stand up. They go in, and then once you get your clearance, then they straighten out. But they do require you to have them in a really, really hardcore angle. So since I have the lift, it should be pretty easy. But if you don't and you're doing it on the ground, you do have to jack up the car pretty high. So let me get these in. Okay, so the header goes in pretty easy. I do put the sensor on first because it is hard to get that sensor on after the header is in. So put the sensor on, I put the extension on, and I run the extension up behind the head by the intake. That way I can connect it up top, just keep it away from the header. So that's that one. Okay, so the header's bolted up. Got these nice stainless steel ARP bolts. They are 10 millimeter 12 point. So make sure you got one of those if you're using ARP bolts. When you're installing the header kind of moves around with all the bolts in it. The best way I've found to do it is hold this pipe up while you're tightening it. That way the header is closest to the top position at the bottom rather than hanging down. So once all the bolts are in, you'll feel it. It still has a lot of play, a lot of wiggle. That'll change the angle of the exhaust. So grab the back pipe, pull it up, snug one of them down, stays in place. There's the O2 sensor wire coming through. I like to go back just away from the header, right? And then it'll come this way by the coils, and I'll plug them. Sorry, it'll come this way by the coils, and I'll plug them here. So once everything's on, I'll do what I gotta do to keep this away from the header or anything like that. So let me do the other side now. All right, this side's on. Same thing with the O2 sensor, up and out. That way they can reach. Nice and snugged up. Let's get under it. There we go. So if you let them hang and you don't pick up the header, they sit way lower. They sit like right here, and you don't want that. So you want to pick up the header, tighten it up. That way you have them even. And they're good to go. O2 sensors are on. Extensors are up. Now I can start doing the X-pipe. Now we have I guess the pipes that go before the X-pipe. So on these, the one with the first sharpest bend goes on the driver's side, and the one that's longer and the bend is towards the middle goes on the passenger side. If you flip them, you'll notice that the exhaust is over here off to the side, and that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be right down the middle. So we put this one on, right? I haven't put the clamps yet. So put this one here, and put this one here. You notice the exhaust is in the middle. If we flip them, look how far off to the right that is. That's not right. And it's gonna go straight into that. And the X-pipe is straight, so yeah, this one goes to this side. Sharpest bend goes to the driver's side. The bend that has it in the middle goes to the passenger side. That's that. All right, so I popped out all the clamps out of the bags. Speed Engineering sells you, or they send you all the clamps, even the ones including for those other smaller pipes. So make sure that when you're putting them on, you read what size clamp it is. This one says 3, so it's a 3-inch clamp. This one says 2.5, so these won't fit. There's 3 of these, and then the rest of them are 3-inch. So we're putting a 3-inch on this car. All right, so the X pipe is on. One side of the X pipe, this side, which would be the passenger side, is going to be longer. That's the side. The longer side you're going to put it on the passenger side, and then the shorter side you put it on the driver's side with the little adapter. And make sure you clock your clamps so they're not hitting anything and they have space. So on this one I got this one here, and then where the X pipe meets, I got them on the outside, and then the little one that connects to the front of the X pipe, I have it on the inside. And that gives me perfect clearance on both sides. If I flip it and the long side is on the driver's side, the exhaust is off to the right and it'll hit there. You can see where my finger was touching. So here is the best fitting way. Now time for the rest of it. All right, so the exhaust is on. Everything's up and clamped where it needs to be. So it's a little tight because it's 3-inch, so it's gonna be tight. You just gotta kind of work your way around the spots. I'm a little disappointed with the clamps that come with it, but we'll see how they hold. Worst case scenario, he'll do a tack on the car, on the clamp, just so they don't separate. But not bad. Let me put the new plugs, the new wires, the new sleeves, and see what it sounds like. All right, so everything is on. Spark plug sleeves, motion sensors are plugged in. Both sides. Now all I gotta do is just see how it sounds. Check for rattles, and then I can tackle that. So let's turn this thing on. All right, so everything seems to be running okay. Ran it a little while, let all the coating burn off. Just a little bit of heat into the exhaust, so everything's good. Checking for rattles and whatnot. So there you go, good to go. Now, next thing to tackle would be the intake system, the air intake. So you get rid of the stock one, and we're gonna do the Veraram snake charmer on the car. Give it a little bit of air So let me open the box here. All right, so here's the Veram intake system. As you can see, it goes to the mass airflow down, and it goes down to the front of the car. And the kit comes with a coupler, clamps, and your little weather stripping, and also a template on where to cut for the air intake. So start taking this off. Oh, we're gonna take this off. Just loosen it a little bit. This clip, just pull back on the plastic on the gray part, and then squeeze and pop off. Put this off here to the side. Okay, take these off. Get these little boxes out. I'm not gonna use those. Man, this car is all new. Very nice. Just comes off these little grommets here. Let me separate this. All right, so it's out. We are gonna use the throttle body coupler still, and we're still gonna use the mass airflow. So the only thing that we're gonna connect would be this side. So next we got to take off the radiator cover, and there's two 10mm bolts on each side. Some on this side, there's two on this side, two on the other side. And then when you're taking this off, make sure you take the coolant hose off of this so you're not pulling it. And careful with this little T right here that goes into the coolant crossover pipe, because that T is very delicate and they always break. So we'll take these off. And once those are off, this cover should come up. We'll set this down right here. It's a lot of Armor All. It's got a lot of Armor All on that. Unfortunately, Armor All or whatever plastic shine, tire shine does attract a lot of dirt. So it's gonna be a little greasy here. So what we gotta do is we gotta trim this piece here so the air intake can go down. And this thing is being held on. It's got a clip on it down here. Let me find out real quick. Actually, I don't have to remove the shroud. It says here, cutting the shroud, read carefully. Before you begin cutting the shroud, place a floor mat, cardboard, etc. behind the shroud to protect the AC condenser, in case you miscut or drop a tool in the condenser. And I've done this before, but I've always had those things off. Most of them, I guess, previous people who worked on the cars, they damage them or whatever, or they pull them off. So this is actually one of the first cars that has everything put together. This thing's bolted on at the bottom. It's got those little Christmas tree clips everywhere holding it together. So without having to take all that off, it says process will take longer. After 32 miles of driving, the vehicle will start to dial in. What you will notice is the more you drive the vehicle, it drives, the better it drives. And that's it. There's some instructions on where to cut. And whatnot. So here's that template. That we have to put. Drop the light. That we have to put, and I guess I'll cut it out. This is the template we're gonna put here to draw it out. So I'm gonna cut this template and then set it on there to cut it out. All right, I had somebody show up and was talking to me, so I didn't get to record the process, but it's very simple. You just mark the outline, cut it. Box cutter actually works pretty good. Then you get the little weather stripping, put it around, and then the bottom part slides nice and easy into a hole that's on the frame. And you got to put your coupler in between your mass airflow and your air filter and put it all back together. Not too bad. A little time consuming because you want to make sure that you don't overcut or make it look ridiculous. So everything's back together. Car's all good to go. Just waiting on the tune. Gotta tune it real quick, so that's what we're gonna do next. And go for a drive. Alright, so working on the tune. Getting the idle air at idle squared away. And nice and subtle. It's actually pretty nice like this. So I'll go for a drive. And just start squaring away the drivability on it. Take care of the drivability of the car, and then we'll do a couple of wide open throttle hits and drive it some more and tune some more. So yeah, let's get on the road here. All right, so we're back from tuning. Car ran pretty good. I'm happy with it. It is loud. I'm sure the customer is gonna really enjoy that. But LS2 is a 6.0 car, 6-speed. Speed Engineering long tube, X-pipe, and the mufflers with tips, and the Veraram cold air kit. So, man, other than that, I love these cars. I love working on them. If any of y'all need help or need work done to these, send them my way. I love these cars. I hope to get one next year. It's the plan. But that'll conclude the video. Same as always, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you guys on the next one.